Despite being a target of the MAGA mob on January 6th, former Vice President Mike Pence was caught on camera praising a would-be insurrectionist for embracing the big lie. In a new video, undercover journalist Lauren Windsor approached Pence and identified herself as someone who had taken part in the insurrection. After some discussion about why he didn't decertify the election, Pence falsely claimed that there were irregularities in the vote. Then he said something that's either the ultimate in Christian charity or just bat poop bananas.
We were there on January 6th, and we were just wondering why you didn't stop the election from being stolen.
Read the Constitution. The only authority Congress has is to open and count. Read the Constitution.
Did you think the election was stolen or not? Because, I mean, we were there fighting for President Trump.
I think there were a lot of irregularities that are now being fixed at state levels.
Okay.
But states, you never want Washington, D.C. to run elections.
Very nice to meet you.
I love your heart. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I love your heart. Pence believed that Windsor was an insurrectionist. And he still praised her for her devotion to the big lie, even though the big lie had him running for his very life, literally. Hey, Mike, remember when these folks were chanting, "Hang Mike Pence"? Remember the gallows they erected on the National Mall? No? Hang Mike Pence! 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 The big lie inspired them to try to kill you, man. Were their hearts in the right place, too? It's another sign that a dangerous fallacy is now central to the GOP's identity. In fact, according to a new CNN poll, nearly 6 in 10 Republicans say that believing the big lie that Trump actually won the 2020 election is important to being a Republican. Joining me now is Congressman Eric Swalwell of California. He was an impeachment manager earlier this year. And Congressman, so basically, to be a Republican, you have to be opposed to saving your own life from COVID. You have to want to get COVID and open yourself up to it. And you have to believe the big lie. That's it. What do you make of Mike Pence, the guy they wanted to hang, and who they would have, God knows what they would have done to him if they'd gotten their hands on him? The fact that he is like, "I love your heart" to somebody who he thinks was a part of that mob.
Well, I don't love any would-be insurrectionist's heart, Joy, and I wish our former vice president wouldn't either. And it shows the environment we're in right now, where when someone like Mike Pence doesn't believe the cameras are on, he is quite defensive of what he had to do. However, he also recognized that he's talking to an insurrectionist. And if he wants to be president, it's the insurrectionist party now, and he's going to need their support. But you really can't have it both ways. And Donald Trump has really proved that by throwing overboard really anyone who has tried, to have a foot, in the moral clarity lane and then a foot in the, pro-coup lane. And so this is the problem, Joy. And taking a step back, I have come to realize that I was quite naive when I first went to Washington. And it was like when I was a boy and my dad had to have that conversation with me that pro wrestling was not real, that they weren't really hitting each other with the steel chairs, but they were all in on it. And that's what you see right now with so many figures in the Republican Party. When the cameras are not on, they know that it's batty and it's crazy, but they do it because they think it's what the fans around the ring want. They don't have constituents. They have fans. The problem, though, that we saw on January 6th is if the fans think that you are advocating for that truly and that you believe in it, they're going to do the same thing. And when you say you're going to the Capitol, they're going to follow right along with you. And if you can't disabuse the quote-unquote fans of it, they're going to keep going along, and it's going to get more and more violent.
Yeah, I used to watch pro wrestling, too. I had to have that. My auntie Dolly had to tell me the same thing. There is a story in The Guardian right now. So among those who are now targets of these requests for records, Mark Meadows, the former chief of staff in the White House. Your thoughts?
Good, because during the Russia investigation and during the impeachment investigation, Mark Meadows took as many shovels out of the shed that he could find, to try and bury evidence to help Donald Trump. He never once spoke up. Again, he was another one where privately, he'd want to talk to you. He'd want to joke with you. He'd come and, put his hand on my back and backslap with me when the cameras weren't looking. But when he had to, really sing for his supper for Donald Trump, he would sing, at the top of his lungs. And he's one that knew better, but again, played to the fans. To me, in Washington, that's worse than somebody who actually believes in it. It's somebody who just wants power and fame, and they're willing to do anything they think that the fans want.
You just described Kevin McCarthy to a T. I have to ask you this question because you're friends with so many of these Capitol Police officers and have talked so passionately about the conversations you've had with them, the ones who were heroic on that day. What do you make of the fact that we now have 6 police officers, 6 Capitol Police officers, who could now face discipline for taking the wrong side? This includes the guy who took the selfie with some of these insurrectionists, refusing and failure to comply with directives, improper remarks, improper dissemination of information, including directions to get to members of Congress. I cannot even imagine what you think of it.
Let me just flip that and say thank you to the 99% of them who did not do that.
Amen.
Because that's who we should continue to honor. But to those who did, they should face the stiffest punishments. And as somebody who comes from, a law enforcement family where my dad's a cop and my 2 brothers walk the beat every night, it really concerns me because, we need to know that there is no inside threat because we already have an inside threat from the pro-coup, pro-insurrectionist members of Congress. And so if you are able to marry that up with, more law enforcement officers, that creates a dangerous environment. But again, that is such a small amount of people. What really worries me, though, is we're not seeing enough support in the law enforcement community for the January 6 officers. And if you talk to these officers, they look at the message boards across the country and they see what, they're being called and how they're being described. And I wish they were honored just the way we honored the firefighters after September 11, because they truly fought, hand-to-hand combat for hours to defend our Capitol and protect life.
Amen. Former President George W. Bush has likened these domestic extremists, or mainly white national extremists, to al-Qaeda. And so if you're with them, you're with the equivalent of al-Qaeda. And that comes from the guy who launched this global war on terrorism, not from me.
That's right.
George W. Bush said that. Congressman Eric Swalwell, thank you very much. Appreciate you.
My pleasure.
Cheers. Tonight's absolute worst is still ahead.